But Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, because the Lord is the Lord. Yahweh's right hand is Yahweh Shai, okay? And a stretched out arm. So what's that? The arm. That's the angels. Okay, because the angels are here. All right, this is why these elites, because if the Lord didn't have a hedge on the elect, okay, Esau would already would take everybody out. Okay, remember that. You got to understand that. Remember, Esau is our enemy. He's not our friend, because if he can kill you, he would, but he can't, because the angels are here. He'll get jacked up. He can try, but he can't. All right, there's levels to this thing. Yeah, they have the U.S. Army, their CIA and FBI, their Space Force and all that. But there's levels to this thing. There's a power out there that's beyond comprehension. Okay, it's like a wonder. It's a mystery, because they don't know that. There's levels to this thing. So remember, it's not just, all right, let's just get together. Remember, we serve Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right. Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm. Okay, so Yahweh Shai, okay? And smite Egypt. So America, okay? Listen up, here's the point. With plagues as before. So remember what happened to ancient Egypt. Okay? Remember what happened to ancient Egypt. Alright, the same thing is gonna happen to America. Okay? Alright, the same thing is gonna happen to America, okay? Plagues, famine. Remember, they couldn't drink the water. Alright? So like, let's say you do have stuff. If you do have stuff, alright, if you do have stuff, it's gonna be no good. Also another thing, martial law. If you if you got what is it? Like, let's say people have like preppers, right? And they're trying to let's say like they're getting ready for doomsday, whatever, right? A lot of people are not going to be able to make it back to their houses, because in time of martial law, these freeways will be shut down. Okay, you won't be able to travel from city to city. All right, so a lot of people, preppers, if you will, you won't be able to make it back to your house. Okay, you won't be able to make it back to your house. See? So that's something there, because this world, these leaders, all right, the people pushing for the New World Order, they are not going to, they're not going to tell you, all right, CNN, KTLA, Fox News, whatever you watch, it's all right. So what that means is that they're not going to tell you, all right, Thursday we're going to go into martial law, so get your dried meats ready, tune up your generators, get ready. No, they're not going to tell you that. All right, because remember, these elites, they're even going to wage war on their own people. Okay, because the so-called white man is going to kill the so-called white man. Okay, it's not just the Israelites. Yeah, we're priority number one, but remember, they want to do something called depopulation. Okay, depopulation. So, they want to get rid of a lot of people, even their own kind. All right, for that New World Order. Yeah, so that's something that we're going to see a lot out here. is civil unrest, civil war, because see, people are starting to notice that now. Like, damn, Trump is corrupt. You know, they don't really want to realize it because sometimes it's hard to take down that pill. Because remember, a lot of people have been living in like a bubble. So once because reality sometimes it's harsh. So that's the thing is that people, they really don't want to like realize it. They're kind of just like, oh well, man, like, can it be? So it takes a little while, but once these sleeper cells are activated, okay, you got martial law, stuff like that. It's going to be it's a rude awakening, because you don't really have time to believe, because once you got soldiers in the streets shooting people in the head, you got tanks out here, you got no food, no water. What else can you do? You can complain, but what good is that gonna do you? You see? So not only is judgment and plagues coming to the world, but it's the Lord's about to give a lot of people out here a wake-up call. Okay, a wake-up call. All right, Second Ezra, chapter 15, verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before. So just remember what happened in ancient Egypt. Okay, so the Lord's bringing that to America, but also the world. But America is the main focal point. Okay, America is the belly of the beast. You gotta remember that. All right. Yeah. Well, just all right. You want to just kind of see a little bit of how powerful our Lord is, Yahweh Shemel Shai. Okay, we're in the, those of you Israelites out there. This is a quick example. Those of you Israelites out there, okay, we live in America, right? It's the strongest military in the world, right? Right. But they can't kill the men of the Lord. Okay, and we're out here with nothing. Okay, no guns, not even a knife. Nothing. Okay, and they can't take us out. And this is the strongest military in the world. You see how fast they took down Venezuela, remember? And the Venezuelans, they said, oh yeah, they said, hey, America has so top technology that we never want to fight against Americans ever again. Okay? All right? And the men of the Lord, we're over here laughing at Esau. See that? You see the power difference? Okay? Because Esau's no threat. We laugh at this clown. Okay? Do you see us, with bats and guns and, oh, we better, nah. Let this clown roll, See? So that's the thing, to the New World Order, the men of the Lord are enemy number one, but yet they can't take us out. Imagine, and we're out here with nothing. They could talk all they want, but just look at that right there. Okay, the Lord's mocking our enemies right there, because whatever, people may not like us, whatever, but they can't kill us. Just imagine that. The strongest nation in the world, America, the strongest military. Look at how they just go around doing what they want, but they can't mess up the men of the Lord. Look at that. Huh? Imagine. So that's just telling you this is true power, because it's our God is real. It's not like what these heathens worship, a statue and stuff. Because you guys, these people out here, they worship statues. It's literally just material. Okay, it's like they believe like in a chair. It's that ridiculous. Say if somebody was to pray to a chair. Yeah, this is how ridiculous these simpletons are out here. Yeah, because it's not a god. It's just an image. See, this is what people are trying to find out. Yeah. Yep. So it's just look at that for just an example, okay? All right, it's just to show you that there's a true power out there, okay? And smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Right. So all of America and all of Israel will be destroyed. Okay. But America's never going to be inhabited again. But Israel is going to be rebuilt. It's going to be our capital. It's going to be a city of gold. Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment. Listen up, this is important. That the Most High Yahweh shall bring upon it. So, right now, mourn. Okay, this is also the burden of Egypt. It's a burden. Okay, Americans are mourning, right? Because like, damn man, you know, we're going to war. You know, our leaders are corrupt. It's too expensive. See, so America is not just, you know, it's not all fun and games no more. Why? Because people are in a mourning state, you know, because they're complaining, they're whining, you know, they're like, oh, you know, it's not as good as it used to be, you know. Even Trump tells you that. He says, let's make America great again, because it's not great. See that? Because it's not at the point where it used to be, you know. See that? Verse 13, and that's what you're witnessing right now. Okay, even these Americans, okay, Babylonians, the self-proclaimed white man and woman, they're even complaining, you know, because you got nurses out there who, you got nurses out there who are, you know, they have full-time jobs, but they can't afford an apartment, you know, yeah, because there's a lot of people that actually work good, decent jobs, and you know, they still can't survive, you know. So that's an example of mourning, okay? Because people are what? They're complaining. They're saying, I don't know how I can do it no more, right? So that's mourning, because they're complaining. You know, they're like crying out and stuff. You know. Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 13. They that till the ground shall mourn, the farmers, okay, and because a lot of these farmers are complaining right now, right? Right. So you know, what also is happening? Okay, these farmers, you know, the farmers are already complaining. Why? Because ICE agents took all their workers. You know, I saw Edomite the other day complaining. He was just saying that, you know, I think he had damn, what did he have? He had carrots or something. Maybe it was carrots, but he goes, oh yeah, you know, he goes, man, he goes, I can't. He goes, I got all this crops, but I can't pick it, you know, because he can't do it all by himself. And he had like a big old, we're talking a huge field, you know, and he was complaining about how he wasn't gonna make that deadline, because they have like contracts, you know, where they have to pick it up and get it to the grocery store, stuff like that. So he was complaining because one thing about an Edomite, the so-called white man, this clown, he's all about money. Okay, he's like, if you don't have money, he don't know what he's gonna do. He's an idiot, you know. You know, just the thought of them being broke, he'll commit suicide. Okay, why? Because he's a base man. He's a cave dweller, you know. So that is a strategy and a tactic of war from Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. Okay, you know. So the Lord is allowing America to feed these simpletons out here what cable TV, the Lakers, you know, the Dolphins, stuff like that. Okay, so convenience, okay, clubs, movies, food, fast food restaurants open 24 hours. So what's that doing? It's having people living in conveniency. It's making them weak. Okay. You gotta remember, our Lord Yahushua is coming to do a lot of killing out here. Okay, and Americans are the softest and stupidest people on the planet. Okay, you know, just because yeah, the Edomites are really simple, because if you know if they have no money, it's like, yeah, but there's still ways, to do stuff. So that's one thing about an Edomite, a so-called white man. It's all they talk about is money. Money's everything to them. So this is why it brings us much joy, those of us that are in the faith, because the economy is about to collapse, and we're just waiting for it. We're already laughing, but we're gonna laugh in that day to see these peons and Americans just, freak out. They're talking about the collapse and all that. We're watching with a smile, baby. All we need is our daily bread. But we're remember, Akim Aqua, we're getting. The Lord is going to smite our enemies by starvation, civil war, the draft. See that? Okay. Yeah, because one example is look at Trump. Okay. For example, all right. Look at how he's he's a trillionaire or whatever, however much money he got, right? Okay. What else? He's busy. He's worried. Because yeah, he's right now the president, but they're not in like, okay, everything's okay. They're in we got to keep moving. Desperation. Send soldiers over here, send soldiers over there. See that? America can't relax. And in other words, they have to stay busy. Yeah, and something that's gonna happen is the people hear about it a lot, is these sleeper cells. Okay, these sleeper cells being activated. It's a very real thing out here. Okay. This is Second Ezra chapter 15 and verse 13. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting of hail, and with fearful consolation. All right, so yeah, there's also going to be a lot of storms. Okay, remember the plagues of Egypt. All right, there's going to be terrible weather out here. All right, terrible weather out here. Remember. All right. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So, woe means destruction. Okay, it means like a warning. It's woe. War. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, with the exclamation mark. Okay, so that is because you got a lot of stuff about to happen here in this world. Okay, so this is Yahweh Shem Yahushai giving us a warning through his prophet Esdras. All right, verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draw nigh. See that? So that's war and destruction. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Civil war. All right. You see these Babylonians, Americans, they're complaining about ICE, because they don't even care if they go to jail, because they did so much stuff to them that they're like, hey man, this government, like, we have to fight back. They're like, so what if we go to jail? We have to fight for our lives. All right, so that's what's coming here to America, that right now you're seeing inflation. We're about to hit hyperinflation. Okay, so